Welcome back to another Thoughts and Feelings. I am Charity and this is Robbie. We are back with another YouTube episode with some advice for you guys. So what are we doing today, babe?
We are talking about advice for new parents, specifically dating tips for new parents. So you got that 1-year-old or 2-year-old and maybe you haven't been a parent that long, or maybe it's a new baby and you would like some privacy and you never ever get it. We've got some tips.
Yeah, especially during this time with the pandemic, a lot of us aren't going out to date nights, right? So we're having to do a lot of in-home ones.
Yep.
So this episode is for you.
Yep. So should we jump right in?
Let's jump in.
All right. So tip number 1. Well, I'm calling the mini date. Have a mini date. Mini date. So my mini date,
do you have like mini food? And like...
No, it's not like that at all.
Mini mouse?
It's only mini in that you don't go anywhere. You do it in your house.
Okay.
So if you have a very young child, like a 6 month old, after they go to bed, you can have a mini, you can have time. Just be intentional.
Yeah,
right? You don't have to be somewhere else to be together. Just get off the phones and the laptops and whatever and spend some time with each other. If you have older kids, it can be hard, right? Especially if you have the younger kids' bedtime is kind of what I would say you should use. So if you have a kid that goes to bed at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., they're the youngest, like a 3-year-old or something, put them to bed. Then tell the other kids, go to your room and leave us alone.
Leave us alone,
leave us alone. They'll be okay. They don't need to have 100% of your attention and they can go somewhere. But that is hard.
Yeah.
Getting them to leave you alone. But Charity has come up with a few pointers for accomplishing the mini date. How do you get the kids to let you be for a little while?
I do. Okay. So this one I thought was pretty smart, actually. So the little kids going to bed, right? So why not have the big kids go to bed too? So I always like to get a nice hot shower. Sometimes before bed, it kind of helps relax, especially if you put some lavender in the shower, relaxes you, so I thought it was great. So I had RJ do this the other day, and then, I just gave him some melatonin and some Benadryl, and I told him to go straight to bed. It was date night. Yeah. All right, so listen, Mom and Dad have a date tonight, so I need you to jump in the shower. Before you do that, I need you to make sure that you take your melatonin and your allergy Benadryl so you get a good night's sleep.
Okay.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Did you give him melatonin and Benadryl? Are you even allowed to combine those?
So my other idea was, if you don't like that one,
let's try a different one. Let's try a different one. A different tip.
Other one
Maybe don't
was
do that one.
The other day. The big kids were gone, and it was just Kai and
our youngest, our 4-year-old.
Right, our 4-year-old, and I needed him to kind of leave us alone. It wasn't bedtime yet. We didn't wait till bedtime. It was more like 4 or 5 o'clock. And we started. Let's spend some time together. So I told him to go to his room. I gave him a sippy cup full of milk and Lucky Charms, a box of Lucky Charms. And I was like, have at it, kid. Eat your cereal, drink your milk, but don't come bother Mom and Dad, And I left him in his room and I closed the door.
You said he was taking a nap.
Well, he did. From all the sugar. He crashed. Hey, bud.
Hi.
Mom and Dad have date night today. So I got you some milk. And I got you some cereal. Stay in here. And I'll see you after. Don't come out, okay? You don't like that one?
No, I guess you didn't drug him. It was just sugar. Oh my.
Okay, well.
You got more tips?
Yeah, so I got 2 more. Oh, man. Okay. So this other one I thought was pretty ingenious.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Okay, so the big kids wanted to watch a movie, with the Kai, and
with the Kai.
Right,
he's not Mackay, he's the Kai.
The Kai, and we wanted to watch a movie upstairs, but it wasn't kid appropriate for them, right? It was right, and so we told all the kids just to go downstairs. But I told them, I was like, look, it's Mom and Dad date night. Don't come up and bother us, not even to use the bathroom.
Whoa!
You need to stay downstairs. Don't come bother us. Yeah. Hey guys, listen, tonight's date night. I want you to leave Mom and Dad alone. Don't even come upstairs to use the bathroom. Don't bother us at all.
What if we have to go to the bathroom though?
No, I said no. Here, I got you these. Put them on. Put them on. Put them on.
Me too.
Yep, put them on right now. Put them on.
Me too.
Oh, I think maybe we shouldn't publish this one because
Why?
I'm not actually sure that's legal.
Why not?
I mean, drugging them and giving them.
I fed them. I gave them somewhere to use the bathroom.
All right. Well, I don't know if we can use any of these, but let's get the last tip and then maybe we can use that one because I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's gonna happen.
I guess. Okay, so this last one is kind of my favorite, right? Like, this is the best idea I think I've ever had.
Okay. All right.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, do you know the other day when we were trying to eat our pizza? You know, like for Valentine's Day, you know how we usually...
Yeah, a lot of times on Valentine's Day, we go, let's not do the restaurant thing. We'll be home. We'll tell the kids, hey, go play.
Leave us alone.
And we're just going to eat this pizza and hang out with each other and maybe watch a movie or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we kind of had like one of those like Valentine dates, but of course it was not Valentine's Day. But, Devin, oh my gosh, this kid kept bothering me. So I had to go pull out the painter's tape.
Mom, I'm hungry.
Hush, it's date night. Eat your pizza. Yeah. Did you see that throw? The poo! Right on his shoulder.
Someone's going to call social services on us. Someone's going to call social services on us.
Honey.
We're going to get arrested or something. I don't even know.
Yeah. Those are my 4 ideas. Aren't they great?
So obviously those aren't real.
Totally fake. No children were harmed in the making of each of those videos.
But there is an extent to which you can tell your kids, go away. Go play and leave me alone. And as long as you're reasonably healthy and happy, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Exactly.
Please don't hurt each other.
Yes, be kind.
Okay, tip number 2.
Dose.
This is I think a pretty good one for new parents, or maybe it's already intuitive. I don't know. I would say, generally speaking, don't pay for babysitters. Now, you might have to, you might not have a choice, but you probably have some family members who would be happy to help you out. If you've got parents that live nearby, a lot of times parents would love to watch their grandkids. I know if I had grandkids, I would love to watch them as long as I got to send them back after.
Yep.
And if you have family or, brother, sister, whatever, sometimes that's not an option if you're in a new area. Mm-hmm. You move somewhere or who knows.
That's how it was for us when we first moved. We didn't have really anyone. That's why we had to do our tip number 1 a lot.
Yeah, the mini date. Which is still viable even if you do have people to watch your kids because it can be such a pain in the butt to just set up everything to go have some time together that sometimes the stress of setting up the date beats out the not stress of being on the date.
Yeah,
but anyway.
That's so true.
But even if you don't have family around, the thing you can do is find another couple and swap babysitting with them.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
It is much easier, in my opinion, to babysit someone else's kids on top of your kids. I guess the difference to going from like your kids to your kids plus someone else's kids versus your kids to 0, it's just not even close. It's much bigger difference going from 0 to 1 than anymore. Yeah,
and we would do this with a couple other families that we knew. But now that our older kids are old enough to really watch Mackay, and on their own, we really don't need to do that swap thing anymore.
Yes, that's nice. We've gotten out of this phase, so we get to look back at you folks with kids that aren't 13 and go, ha ha ha, you don't have built-in babysitting. But
not yet, but one day.
But we paid our dues, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so that's another tip. Don't pay for babysitting.
Tres?
Yeah. Tip number 3. Make babysitting as easy as possible. Okay? I'm talking to you, brand new parent with the kid who's your first kid, and you're all anxious about it, and you're like, I don't want to mess him up. I got to do it right. I got to give him whole wheat something or another.
I'm going to mess him up somehow anyway, so...
Really what I mean by that is make it as easy as possible on you and on the babysitter, because that's just going to make the whole thing smoother, and it's going to make you more likely to want to do it the next time. Less stress is good. So what that means is if you can get someone to come to your house, I think that's better than bringing the kids somewhere else. We've done that before where you've got especially multiple kids You get them all dressed, you get them all packed up, you get them all ready, you pack the diaper bag, la 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 la.
And then you have little kids, so if it's a portable swing, like the travel swing,
you get all that together, you drive that over to someone else's house that's 15 minutes away, you drop it all off, you give some instructions. By the time you get to your date, you're like, this is so stressful.
You guys have probably already argued on the way, and so then you have to like reset yourselves, and it's just...
And to
better
be honest,
say, peace out, love ya, and leave.
With kids, you need so much flexibility because, the chance that someone gets sick, for example, is always really high. The odds that your date's going to get canceled are pretty high, just in general. Yeah. You know that if you've done this. So just less stress is better because there's already plenty of stress. So if you can do your house, great. If not, fine. If you have to bring it somewhere else, do it. But if you can get them to come to your house. And then when you do have a babysitter, just... let them spoil the kids. Let it be a different time. If you're like, well, I want them never to eat processed foods or something, maybe when the babysitter is over, they get to eat processed foods. Let the babysitter spoil them. Let them have fun, especially if it's your parents.
Yeah, as long as the
nag your parents and tell them not to give your kids sweets. Come on, that's a grandparent's primary job. Plus, they're not going to listen to you. They're doing it anyway. They're just not telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, especially...
And you will too when you're a grandparent.
Especially, as long as your babysitter doesn't ignore your kid, they play with your kid or whatever, and your kid's happy and safe, and...
Yeah, the first goal is no one dies or gets hurt or sick.
Right.
And the second goal is people are happy.
Right. They're interacting with my kid, and they're happy.
Is gravy. You don't need anything else.
No, yeah. Totally.
So make it as easy as possible on the babysitter as you can. Okay. Our it's actually not our final tip. I have a bonus tip.
Bonus tip.
But this is tip number 4, which is kind of our final tip. Tip number 4 is don't plan your date for less than 3 hours.
Why?
It is tempting. At least I have been tempted to go.
Especially when your kids are itsy bitsy and you don't want to leave them for too long.
You don't want to leave them for too long. You don't want to put too much burden on people.
Your husband or wife is important, and you need to make sure you spend that quality time with each other, because you're stronger together than you are apart.
Yes. And again, we've said all this prep work and time has to go into these because you have kids and you can't get around it. Yeah. If you do less than 3 hours, that prep time is never worth it. We've had tons of time where we've gone, eaten, and then we're like, do we just go back now? That was way too much work to spend 40 minutes being able to talk.
Yeah, it wasn't like when we were in our college days and it was 11:30 at night and we're like, hey, you gonna go see a movie?
We just left. Just left the house.
Go see a movie.
Awesome.
Can't do that no more.
Not right. Well, we can now because our kids are old enough, but...
Okay, I'm too tired to do that now.
we're too lazy.
I'm too tired.
You want me to leave at 11:40 at night? Are you kidding me? I have church in the morning. Okay.
I have my pajamas on.
Kai is going to be in here waking me up at 7:30. You want me to go to bed at 2? No, not going to happen.
7:30. That's when his little light comes on. You can be like, come bother mommy and daddy.
So plan for 3 hours. Make a dinner and a movie or something. At least 3 hours.
Yeah.
And if you can get this, it's hard to do, but if you can get a scenario where you can drop the kids off somewhere at mom or dad's house, at grandma and grandma's house, and they're willing to do an overnight thing, take advantage of that. That takes the stress level from it's so much work and all this anxiety, and then you
have to get home before bedtime, and then we have to get them home and put them in bed, and
melts away. You realize I can just stay up till when I want. I don't have anyone to worry about. I'll sleep in the morning, and then when we're done sleeping in and getting ready, then we'll go get kids.
Get them. Yep. Maybe pick up donuts on the way home or something special for them.
It's a great idea. Now that's a lot to ask of a babysitter potentially, depending on how many kids you have and how old they are. But if they're willing to do it, it is wonderful. And maybe you should be willing to do these things for other people too, because think about how great it'd be for you. Again, if you find another set of parents and you trade with them, you guys can both do that. Here, you take all our kids this weekend. Next weekend, we'll take your kids. It's gonna be sweet.
We've even done that with our kids now with another family friend, where we've kept Kai here, but their older kids, the girls would come over our house and the boys would go over their house and stuff. So we kind of swap kids. It's still not the full date thing, but the whole swapping, it makes it a new thing for a new excitement, or whatever.
It's fun for the kids, and you do find you realize, hey, there is a difference between 4 kids and 2 kids in the house. It brings the calm level. Well, the calm level goes up. The craziness level
goes down. Yeah.
All right, so here's my bonus tip. This is my bonus tip. Now, I don't know how much you agree, but this is my soapbox, okay?
Oh, no.
This is my new parent most important tip. Apart from obvious things like love your baby and feed them.
Right.
And
Nurture.
stuff.
Yeah. Should I do a drum roll?
Can you go faster? Thank you. Ta-da! This tip is bedtime.
Yes.
Now, you can't do bedtime with a newborn. You can't. You can try, but they probably aren't going to do that, right? You got a newborn, it's not going to happen. Somewhere around 1 year is when your baby starts to understand like cause and effect and starts to be able to manipulate you. Mm-hmm. And you can start like setting some boundaries. And the most important thing I can think of for like being able to date, for example, or just kind of your stress level, is set a bedtime at around 1 year old. Most likely your baby's gonna hate it.
Yeah.
They're gonna hate it. What you do is you take your baby 1 year old and say it's 8 o'clock at night or whenever you decide. You sing them, give them their bottle, get them changed, tell them you love them, play with them a little, have like a little routine for them, and set them in the bed. And then you sit down next to the crib.
With your back to the crib.
Yep. And you don't pay any attention to them, but you're there.
Yep.
And what they will do is probably stand up in the crib and scream at you.
Pull your hair.
If they can't reach it. Try to get out of reach of the baby. But they will scream.
We know this by firsthand.
Yes. Possibly for like 2 hours. Here's the thing. Somewhere in there, you're gonna feel like I must be the worst parent in the world. Because they're getting good. They'll act like they're dying. Like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Especially if your daughter has lungs like our Sarah did.
Oh man.
It's like I needed like AirPlugs.
I still feel the ringing in my ears.
Yeah.
But so then eventually they will wear out. It'll take a long time, but they will wear out, they will give up, and they will fall asleep.
Go away.
And then you leave. And then the next day you do it again. And this time they scream at you again. But maybe it's like an hour instead of 2 hours.
And aren't you supposed to like move yourself a little farther away from the crib?
Maybe. I don't think I ever really did that. With me, it was all about the amount of time. So
I did it with RJ. I would sit closest, and then every day I would scoot farther and farther away. And then by the end of the week, he was good to go.
And in my experience, it's like day 1, 2-ish hours of screaming. Day 2, 1-ish hours of screaming. At the end of the first week, you're down to like 15 minutes. They're like fussing at you for 15 minutes. They start giving up because they realize it never works. That's the thing. You cannot give in, or else you're doing random reinforcement, if you're familiar with psychological terms, which is the most effective way to get somebody to keep doing something. And in this case, you don't want them to do that something. Sometimes you go pick them up. And then usually somewhere around 2 weeks, you're getting to where it's like, good night, I love you, kiss. And you put them in bed and you leave and they're fussing for 5 minutes. And then they're done. And then about a month, they just go, night, love you. And that's it. And now you suddenly have where you were previously coddling this baby all night. The baby was kind of asleep and not all the way asleep. And wanted to sleep with mom and wanted to sleep with dad. Now you just have suddenly a whole lot of free time. You have like 2 hours every night free that you just didn't have before.
Yeah.
And that is really important for you. And it is fine for the baby. I think it's actually good for the baby to get a little... It's like that little tiny bit of self-reliance that babies can learn. Like a little bit of self-soothing.
The self-soothing, yeah.
And that's not about dating, but it kind of is. I mean, the mini date can only happen if you master this going to bed skill. And the longer you wait after 1 year old, it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. Because the screaming is not because they're hurt. It's because they're good at manipulating. And the older they get, the better they're going to get.
Yeah.
they're gonna do it for 4 hours instead of 2.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, don't give in.
Don't give in. You can do it.
It's war.
You can do it. Yeah.
Where'd it come from? We don't know.
Oh, getting excited thinking about date night. So those are some really good basic tips to do, especially during budget time, young parents, pandemic.
Yeah, with COVID, a lot of times all you could do is mini date.
Yeah, and even if it's like you're not comfortable going to a restaurant, still take those 3 hours and go drive somewhere and sit and talk.
Something, yeah. Be intentional.
Yeah, be intentional. They have all kinds of. I'll post a link to them, but there's these little cards that I like from Gary Chapman, and they have like over 100 cards.
That's a good idea. Those are fun.
And there's like conversation cards, and you have to understand, like, I've known Robbie since he was 12, and so we've known each other for a really long time, and Eve, we've been married for
A long time.
18 years.
I'm glad you don't remember because that gets me off the hook.
Anyway.
It's been a while. Okay? It's been a while.
So we've known each other like a good amount of time.
18 years. 18 years.
18, okay. So those cards are still I still learn things about him and he still learns things about me, And so those are just fun little communication starters. Those are always fun things to do. If you don't want to go to a restaurant, just want to have a little conversation too. So those are always, I enjoy when we do those.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Yeah. So these are our ideas for date nights, especially for parents who have younger kids on a budget during a pandemic that we don't know how long will last. But you know what? Find time to be with your spouse. Find joy in the simple moments with each other and with your kids.
And find a babysitter friend.
And with that, we're out. So hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.